Today, I'm going to share with you exactly how I made $20,000 on YouTube. That's right, I've made $20,000. But by the end of this video, you're going to have the potential to make even more money than I did here on YouTube, because I'm going to be giving you guys a lot of the tips that I have learned. So make sure you stay to the end of the video to get all of that helpful information. But before we really get into how exactly I made $20,000 here on YouTube, I think it's a lot more important to understand my story of where I came from on YouTube and how I got started and what I learned through that journey. But the first channel I ever started here on YouTube was called Webhead, and the videos that I was making on the channel was really just dedicated to all types of different entertainment, mainly just movies, comic book movies. Honestly, what you really should take away from this is I didn't have a clear direction where I was going with my channel at all. I was doing a bunch of random things. I had no knowledge of how YouTube worked and how to make money with the channel. Basically, I just didn't have a solid focus for my channel, and this in turn had me struggling to get any views and any subscribers and making any money on the channel overall. I was a struggling YouTuber for a long time. It would take me probably about 10 videos in order to make $1 on YouTube. So I wasn't making any money off my YouTube videos for a long time. And to really put it in perspective, it took me about 8 months and 150 videos in order to get my first check from YouTube and 1,000 subscribers. So obviously my work ethic wasn't the problem here. Instead, it was really just a lack of focus on the channel and understanding how YouTube and the whole platform worked. Once I got past those 8 months though, and I really started doubling down on my knowledge of YouTube and how it worked as a platform, how people were getting lots of views and how to grow my subscriber count, then I started seeing a lot more results because I niched my channel down to only talk about all of the Marvel movies that were coming out each and every year. And this is when I started making about $100 to $200 per month just making videos that I was really passionate about. And even more surprisingly, I was putting out less content and I was getting even more views accumulating off of those videos. And this is really where I started understanding that, hey, if I put out less content, but it's more targeted content, that means that I'm probably gonna get more views than if I just put out a bunch of random videos. If you really niche down, this is gonna turn into growth, which then turns into money. And then I can start making a part-time income, which would in turn make me quit my summer job, which was my goal for a long time because I just didn't want to go back to my summer job at all. And when I hit my peak on the platform, which was probably about 1.5 years into the channel as a whole, that's when I got to about 50,000 subscribers on the channel, about 14 million views, which then in turn turned into about $20,000, which all of that money was derived from AdSense itself. So I only made money off of AdSense, except for like one sponsor, which was $400. But other than that, it was all AdSense, $20,000, all AdSense. That's all I was making money off of. And honestly, at that time, I was really looking at it and saying, oh my God, if I keep going like this, if I keep growing, that means that I'm gonna be making a lot more money. I could even make 6 figures at some point down the road. And that was my overall goal. And instead of just quitting my summer job, which I eventually did, then I really started thinking, well, what if I graduate college and I have a full-time income just doing this? I can pay off my student loans and I'll be golden. But then I finally understood exactly why AdSense just isn't a good business model to have. And that's when my channel started to really decline. Because that very next month that I hit my peak of almost hitting $5,000 in 1 month, that's when I hit about $500 because my views were low and the ads for that particular month were down. And honestly, just looking back at it, it's just a huge mistake. And I feel so dumb for making this mistake because now I realize that I was just lacking a business model for my entire channel. And I was really relying on something that was inconsistent. There wasn't a consistent amount of revenue that was gonna be coming from AdSense all the time, because there's some months where the ads are making you a lot more money and there's some months when you're not gonna be making as much money. It's really inconsistent, and I needed to understand that, hey, there's another way to make money on YouTube and you're really underselling yourself. Now, $20,000 was a lot of money to me when I was a college student back then, and it probably is a lot of money to you as well watching this video, or at least a decent amount of money. I mean, at the time, this was more money than I've ever made in my entire life. So to me, I felt like I was rich at some points because I looked at some of my friends and they weren't making as much money as I was, and that was the first time that ever happened to me. But now really looking back at it all and understanding that for the amount of effort that I was putting into the channel, I wasn't nearly making the amount of income that I should have been making. And in order to make $20,000 on my overall channel it took me about 450 videos to do that, which for each video, it took me about 5 hours to make it overall. So if you multiply the amount of hours that I put into each video by all the videos that I had, you're gonna come out to about 2,250 hours that I put in overall in the channel, which is just a ridiculous amount of hours. And if I multiply that by the amount of money that I was making in my old job, which is about $16 per hour, you're gonna find out that if I worked the exact 2,250 hours that I did with the channel into my part-time job, I would have had $36,000, which is $16,000 more than what I got on YouTube ad revenue. Now, I could look at this and feel extremely depressed and sad because I'm not making as much money as I could have been, but honestly, I'm not one of those people that do that. I instead like to turn it around and really look at my failures and say, hey, how can I improve off this? How can I learn from this mistake, not make it again, and instead do something different, do something that's going to work? Because now I know AdSense is just not a sustainable way to make money, and instead, there's a different way to make money, because then I started really digging into how to make money on YouTube. And this is where my mind literally just blew up, because I was just looking at YouTube the complete wrong way. And instead of looking at a YouTube channel as a business, I was looking at it as a passion project or a hobby. And I was really just thinking about it as, if you get a lot of views on the platform, that's gonna determine how much money you're gonna make. But honestly, that's the wrong way of looking at it, because now I know that there are just better ways of making money on YouTube. And hopefully this is what you're getting as well, where you shouldn't be relying on AdSense. Instead, you should be coming up with a business plan for your channel. Unless you just don't want to make money at all, which is totally fine and that's up to you. But if you do want to make money on YouTube, this is the way to go. And after taking a long time to really look at how different channels were making money online, I then understood that, hey, if I sell my skills or something that I'm really good at as a product or service that people value out of my videos, that means I'm gonna make a lot more money on YouTube than I would ever with AdSense. And it's totally possible to make 6 figures on YouTube by just making a business out of your channel. This is the way where you don't have to have millions of subscribers or generate millions of views in order to make a lot of money. Instead, you could have 1,000 subscribers and make more money than somebody with 1,000,000 subscribers if they're just relying on ad revenue and you're relying off of the value that you're providing to somebody and making a service or product out of that. Now, I know exactly what you're thinking. You're probably thinking to yourself, well, that's all well and good, but how do I make a product or service out of what I'm doing? My best advice is to really understand, what skills do you have that is going to be valuable to other people? Or if you're already making videos, why are those people watching your videos? What value are you providing those people already? And how do you make a product or service out of that? Those are the questions you really want to ask yourself. You want to say, hey, how can I make a product out of my cooking videos? Maybe I could do a cookbook or something like that, something that I can give to my audience that they would really like. All of the recipes that I have, instead of them going throughout all my videos and writing down all the recipes, I'll just give it to them in this book. And a lot of them will probably buy it if they really like your book and you're giving them something that you put a lot of hard work into. This is the exact strategy that a lot of channels with only 1,000 subscribers are able to generate 6 figures all the way up to $1 million in order to make money on their channels. Somebody that has 1,000 subscribers could make more money than somebody with 1,000,000, which makes that $20,000 that I made look like absolutely nothing. Hey, I just want to say thanks so much for watching this video. This is something that I actually uploaded on another channel before I created this main channel right here. I came across this on one of my drives, and honestly, I just thought it was still relevant today and exactly how to make money on YouTube. But if you want to learn exactly how to make $100 per day on YouTube, be sure to click on this video right here, and I'll see you guys over there. Bye-bye.